Hello, I'm Doug Wern here in Juniper Level Botanic Garden. It's the middle of winter. The Hellebores, the plants we know as Christmas roses and Lenten roses and their cousins, are starting to bloom. Some are already open. We see this one, a huge mass of flowering stalks that are starting to rise from the crown of the plant. And an issue to be answered every year is whether or not to cut the foliage back. And the reason why you do some years and some not is that, first of all, let me tell you which Hellebore this is. This is Helleborus ex-iburgensis, which are man-made hybrids between several different species. And generally, they have very beautiful foliage. Now, all I have is this somewhat cold damaged leaf, but see these, dark green leaves with the paler veining through it. So the foliage can be as much an asset as the flowers. Having just had several weeks of low temperatures, including down into the teens, I think anyone would feel comfortable cutting this foliage away because it's no longer attractive, and also the way it has splayed outwards, it's no longer protecting the flower buds. So should we have another cold spell, an unusually cold spell, the foliage is not providing any protection. So I'm just going to quickly cut it off, this foliage off. My favorite tool is the pocket knife I carry nearly always, and like cutting some twine, I pull up on the stem so it's taut. And I also like a knife because, having spent 45 years with the same kind of knife all those years, I feel that I can work quicker than with a pair of pruning shears, which I have to carefully get down to the base of the stem to cut only the stem and not the flower stalks. And we like to cut the stems down as low as possible. I didn't quite get these as low in the first cut. Oops. So I don't know if you had your stopwatch out. I don't think it took me all that many hours to cut this one back. And we are done with it until next year. We are done with it till next year because it'll put up new foliage in a couple months from now. And that foliage will be glorious all summer and fall into early winter. And perhaps a year from now, we'll be cutting the new foliage back, when it's a year old. And because these hybrid hellebores are sterile, they do not make any seed, so we don't even have to worry about deadheading them to prevent seeding or to collect the seeds. So a super low maintenance plant that, extremely showy. And, so even more valuable because it's blooming at a time of year when there's not as many things in bloom in the garden. So I hope that was some hopeful tips, and I hope to see you again in the garden.